For the first time in over a decade, the Undetectable Firearms Act, which is the federal provision that makes it illegal to manufacture fully plastic homemade ghost guns, might expire. Why did we make these illegal? Very simple. After 9/11, we began to put metal detectors in places where large amounts of people would gather, so no one could go in and shoot up people. We put them in stadiums, we put them in airports, we put them in all kinds of places. Sometimes they're in schools. And the law worked. Guess who signed the law? So this is not it was Ronald Reagan who proposed this and signed it, actually in 1988, to keep communities safe because terrorism was starting then. And it's worked. We have had almost very few incidents where someone has been able to bring a rapid firing firearm into a place where large numbers of people gather. But the law expired. It will expire this Friday. And that would create a huge danger to the public and to the men and women in law enforcement represented by our district attorneys and others here, because it puts them at risk and the people that they represent at risk. So I am here to say we cannot allow them to happen. We cannot allow it to happen. And we are going to do everything we can to stop it. Well, here's the good news. In the new budget bill, which you just heard about, which was posted last night, there's a provision to extend this provision that makes these ghost guns illegal, to extend the law that makes them illegal by 7 years. And that is in the bill that the Senate has agreed to with the House. But we have to pass it. So I am here to say we cannot have anybody block this legislation, because as of Friday, it will expire and put lots of people in danger. What does the current law say? Let me show you. It says that every gun must contain at least 4 ounces of metal. That's not a lot. It's about as much as this roll of pennies. This roll of pennies is all that is needed. But that'll make the gun detectable. And that is why it's so important, but it doesn't make it awkward or expensive or anything else. And so we have to have it. But if it were to lapse, if this provision were to lapse, fully plastic guns could be easily bought and sold, making it terrifyingly easy for these weapons to show up at schools, airports, and big events, because security would have no way of detecting them. And what makes it worse is now we need this law more than ever. And the reason is simple. We have these 3D printers, and these 3D printers can make these plastic gun parts very strong, very able, very capable. Let me just say this, that just a few weeks ago, the state attorney general announced the takedown of a gun trafficking network that sold these untraceable guns across the Hudson Valley. Among the items seized were dozens of ghost guns and 3D printed parts. Just imagine if the worst kind of undetectable firearm were federally legal, and we were already seeing it in our community. It could lead to a surge in places right here in the Hudson Valley. And just a note here, there's 2 kinds of ghost guns. We're talking about one, which is undetectable. Another type of ghost gun is made where you can get by mail order different parts and then put the gun together, and there you don't get a background check. That's a different type of ghost gun. We made those illegal in the Safer Communities Act last summer, and right now the Justice Department and the FBI are putting together regulations to make those illegal as well. But that's already passed into law. This will expire.